Hey guys, welcome back to the Genius Tomato channel. So for those of you that haven't watched our video, the top 10 fake Chinese foods that may kill you, the link is in the description box below and also on the top right of the screen. So make sure to check that out. Now I couldn't possibly cover all the fake Chinese foods in that first video, but I still want to make you aware of the potential foods out there that you're putting in your body that could be harmful to you. So in this video, we're going to cover the top 10 fake Chinese foods that may kill you, part 2. But before we get into it, please make sure to support the channel by clicking the subscribe button along with the notification bell. This will keep you up to date with our new video uploads. Also consider giving a thumbs up and sharing this with your friends if you found value in this video. Number 1 on the list is fake Chinese gutter oil. So for those of you who might not be aware of what gutter oil is, essentially it's really the same as it sounds. It's really cooking oil that has been pulled from the sewers or gutter and then recycled into cooking oil to be resold, to be reused.
Are you serious?
In this video, you actually see a woman in the southern province of China in the city of Shenzhen actually opening up a manhole and then going into the sewer and really using a scoop, it looks like, to pull slop that she finds in the sewer into a bucket. Now, I don't know what these contents are, but they sure don't look appealing at all. It could be like a residue of anything that's down there in the sewers, but it's really just slop that's pulled from the sewers and they put it into a bucket. And once they take it to a bucket, they actually either sell it or give it to these processing plants where you see over here, this is a processing plant for the gutter oil, and the gutter oil is being mixed with animal fats and other residue that you see and then compiled together to be recycled into this so-called gutter oil. They pack it up in these barrels, and these barrels are literally sold to street vendors, hole-in-the-wall restaurants that they use to actually refry and cook other foods that they serve to customers. Now this is pretty outrageous because this cooking oil, I mean, it's pulled from the sewers, so you can't imagine the amount of toxins they have in it. I'm pretty sure it's not guaranteed to be good for you. Now listen to this. Chinese experts estimate that possibly up to 1/10 of China's cooking oil is actually gutter oil and is found to contain carcinogens and other toxic chemicals that is harmful to humans. Now the Chinese police are doing what they can to stop this illegal industry by seizing tons of gutter oils. They're arresting, and they even went as far as enacting a tough food safety law in 2009. But essentially the high profits are just too attractive for some to not engage in the gutter oil production. As I mentioned before, so a lot of this gutter oil is being sold to small street food vendors and hole-in-the-wall type of restaurants that you find in China. So if you're a big fan of street food, this might be a good reason to be more cautious of the food that you're eating there. Number 2 on the list, canned peaches from China. So I know you ever check the back of your canned foods to see where it's been made. I know we do this kind of thing with all other products we might buy. For instance, we might buy a pair of sneakers and then check the bottom of the sneaker to see which country it's made from. Well, canned foods are no exception, and there's a lot of canned foods that come from China, including peaches. Now, first off, peaches are indigenous to China, but that doesn't mean that they're necessarily safe to eat. Now, in the article from The Guardian back in 2014, it was actually discovered that these imported canned peaches from China were found to contain up to twice the amount of lead that is actually allowed. Now that's super scary given the fact that lead is not good for you, but it is actually up to double the amount of leads that's safe to consume. Another thing is, due to the low cost of these canned peaches, a lot of them were being served in hospitals and elderly homes in Australia. This is the reason that these high levels of lead can be found in these canned peaches most likely stem from the fact that these companies in China are still using lead to solder their cans. Now, this was a practice that was actually banned in 1995 by America, obviously due to the fact that using lead to seal cans was found to be unsafe. Now, lead poisoning is a serious thing and can have symptoms that range from headaches to even a coma for worst case scenarios. Now that you're aware of these potential dangers of canned peaches from China, you might want to think twice before you open that can. Are you still with me? I hope you're finding value in this video, and if you do, please make sure to support us by smashing that subscribe button, smashing on the notification bell to receive updates on the new video uploads. Also smash on the like button and smash on the share button and share this with others just to get the word out and make people aware of some of the things they might consume. Now, also, please make sure to leave your comment in anything that you feel that I might have missed in the video, and let's move on to the next. Number 3 on the list, knockoff alcohol from China. Now let's face it, the world loves to drink booze, including myself. I mean, let's be honest here. but it might be best to proceed with caution when you're buying booze that's made in China. Now, in an article from The Guardian, counterfeit or fake alcohols was actually being produced illegally with crazy methods such as alcohol being made in the bathtub, unhygienic tubes, and in some cases there were even alcohol being bottled in toilets. Now, this counterfeit alcohol is most likely made with obviously poor quality, unregulated ingredients such as toxic industrial chemicals. Now, some of these chemicals might include ethylene glycol, which is a common chemical used in industrial settings, including antifreeze and coolant. Now, that definitely doesn't sound like something that you can consume, right? But here's the catch, there's even more. Other chemicals known as methanol, which is also known as wood oil, which is also used industrially as well, and isopropyl alcohol, which is most commonly known as rubbing alcohol. Now, obviously, all of these are extremely dangerous to consume and can lead to major health issues, such as kidney and liver failure, and in some cases, can even make the person go into a coma. Now, the sources estimate that up to potentially 30% of all alcohol in China is fake. That is a huge percentage in terms of alcohol in this estimate. Now, in 2017, 13 people were actually poisoned drinking this fake alcohol, being labeled as real drinking alcohol.
A counterfeit liquor brewing network has been shut down in central China's Hubei province. The fake liquor makers were bottling their home brew and trying to pass it off as famous, expensive liquor. China News has more, including an interview with the man police say was behind the fake brew.
Since 2007, the Jingzhou-based liquor network produced and sold over 1 million bottles of fake liquor by labeling their home brew with famous Chinese brand names such as Wuliangye and Maotai.
这种五粮液1618的，可能在市场上卖到800多一瓶，就这1618的，这水晶坊可能卖到500多一瓶，30年陈酿的，能卖到13000到14000，贵州茅台50年陈酿的年份酒，卖到1万9。
Now, besides the fact that these chemicals aren't safe, there's also other scandals in where low quality alcohol was also being labeled as higher end top brand alcohols. Then they put the more expensive price tag on it and sell it as the actual brand. Now, that's definitely one hangover headache you probably don't want to ever have. So if you're in China, I would probably proceed with caution when you're actually drinking alcohol. Number 4, soy sauce made with human hair. Now, in the first video, I covered the counterfeit soy sauces that were made with industrial salt that came from China. If you still haven't watched that video yet, make sure to click on the link on the top right corner of your screen. Now, the soy sauce controversy continues, and now you make a guess that it's going to take it up to another level. In an article by the Internet Journal of Toxicology, it was actually reported that some of these counterfeit soy sauces were found to have ingredients that contain human hair, and that was collected off the floors of barbershops and salons. Now, the amino acids that are found in human hair can actually be used to make a condiment, such as soy sauce, and it has a flavor that's similar to soy. Now, that's actually pretty interesting because I did not even know that myself, but then the human hair is actually processed into amino acid syrup and then is mixed together with other ingredients. Now, the thing in question obviously is, first, how sanitary is this human hair? I mean, I hope the hair was washed before it was cut off or whatever it was, but it actually potentially might have bacteria and other microorganisms that actually could be harmful for consumption. Now, I don't know about you, but that's pretty disgusting, and I would not like to be using soy sauce that's made with human hair and all these other ingredients to serve with my food. Number 5, gel injected prawns from China. Now, what makes these prawns from China fake is that the fact they're actually practically prawns on steroids. Now, what I mean by that is that they're actually taking these prawns and injecting it with gelatin, all to increase the weight and the size of it so it could be sold at a higher price, because we obviously know that seafood, for the most part, is normally sold by weight. Now, obviously, at the higher price comes higher profits, and this is all at the expense of the consumer. Now, in an article by the Chinese People Daily, these unethical vendors have been reportedly injecting these industrial-grade gelatin into shrimps to sell to the public, as I just mentioned. Now, the question you're probably thinking is, how much more profits can these vendors possibly make with these gel-injected prawns or gel-filled prawns? And the answer is up to 30% more in profits, which further explains why these vendors are actually doing this. Now, whether the gel is edible is highly questionable, and I of course, highly doubt it. The process of the gel being injected into the prawns is most likely far from hygienic, and they actually potentially might have risks of contamination because this is obviously not being supervised or this is not even legal. So you can best believe they're not going to be practicing hygienic practices. And another thing is that the researchers from the Shanghai University has also expressed concerns that these vendors might even start using more dangerous industrial gel because it will be obviously cheaper in cost, all in order to increase the profit margins. Now, I can't possibly imagine what kind of potential damage this can do to the body if consumed, but I mean, I think it's all obvious. One thing for sure is definitely not good for you. So next time you see prawns that were made in China, you might want to proceed with more caution. Number 6, contaminated bottled water from China. Now, I know this list keeps getting crazier. I mean, messing with people's foods is one thing, but now when you start messing with people's drinking water, that's just taking it too far in my book. Now, obviously, based on what I just said, that you might actually have to be cautious of the water that you drink in China. Now, it's no surprise that people in China resort to bottled water due to the high pollution levels in the city, which obviously affects the water supply. Now, I don't know if you've seen pictures where there's citizens that are in Chinese cities like Beijing where they're wearing masks and the sky looks green. It's all because of the pollution that's actually in the city itself. And then, obviously the citizens don't have much faith in the water supply.
This is the Huangpu River, which leads into Shanghai. It's a busy shipping lane, but it's also one of the main sources of water for the some 23 million residents of the city in China. And those residents have been very nervous in recent days. I'm standing on just a pile of junk and trash next to the river. There's always pollution problems
now,
here.
An article from the South China Morning Post, studies and tests have shown that almost up to a quarter of China's supposed purified bottled water is actually below quality standards, and a lot of them actually have been found to be contaminated with high levels of bacteria. Now, you can imagine that we're supposed to, or it's suggested for us to drink up to 8 bottles of water a day. So can you imagine drinking this purified water that's supposedly supposed to be purified, but is actually contained high level of bacteria? And if you're drinking up to 8 bottles a day, it could surely add up, and I'm sure it's not good for the human body to consume. Now, the Chinese police have also uncovered scams in which some of these bottled water are actually being filled with tap water or water that's poorly treated. Now, these supposed purified bottled waters are actually being sealed with these quality seal standards, giving a false sense of security to the would-be drinkers. Now, obviously, these unethical vendors obviously do this to decrease their profit margins.
Food safety regulators in China are looking to establish a new set of guidelines for bottled water. Consumer confidence has been diluted following reports of fake bottled water being sold.
南水它是假冒的，它本身可能就是抽来一渠自来水，甚至更劣质的水灌在里面。
在北京70%的吧，加水的特别多，因为他每年能挣了几十万嘛。
Now, some of these fake bottled waters have also been found to have things like E. coli and other even more harmful fungi, which can cause extensive damage to the body if consumed consistently, as I previously mentioned. So the next time you drink water, probably best to check to see where it's made from. Thirsty, anybody? Number 7, expired meat from China. Now, there have been few incidents where expired meats and foods were still somehow making their way to the market floor and being sold to unsuspecting customers. Well, in this case, this expired meat. In June 2013, police in the city of Wenzhou shut down underground mills that were selling expired meats. Now check this out, this gets better. The meat being expired is bad enough, but these vendors took it another step further. Along with the shutdown, the police seized chemical additives and coloring agents which were being used to clean the expired meats such as chicken wings and drumsticks and other duck meats before reselling it back to the public. Now, some of these chemicals can potentially be carcinogenic, and if consumed in large quantities can affect the liver and kidneys. Not to mention, the expired meats can potentially cause food poisoning or worse. Now, this gets even better because in 2014, a vendor company was actually repackaging old meat for sale and labeling the expired packages with brand new expiration dates. Now, some of these meats were actually reported up to a year after expiration date. Now, that's a really long time. But now, as you think just as it can't get worse, it actually does. Now, this expired meat was being distributed to a lot of popular, well-known American fast food brands and franchises. Now, as you can see in this video, this is in the factory where some of the workers are actually picking up some of these meat patties off the floor and tossing it back into the assembly line to be distributed to consumers. Based on the video, you can tell that their hygienic practices aren't the best. Now, as I mentioned, a lot of these meats and these expired meats were being concealed not only with additives, but they're also mixing it with non-expired meats. So then the smell of the expired meat will not be so easily discovered when they mix it with the non-expired meats. As you can guess, after the scandal made big headlines all over China, and a lot of these well-known American fast food chains and franchises actually cut ties with this unethical vendor. But who really knows how long this has been going on for until it was actually exposed? Now that's something to think about. Number 8, fake blood pudding. Now I know as gross as this sounds, and I mean, come on, like it's blood we're talking about here, and it's actually, being consumed, but it's so much worse when you realize that people actually eat this. And matter of fact, some of this blood pudding is actually a delicacy in parts of China. Now what this blood pudding is made with either pig's or duck's blood, which undergoes filtration. It's salted, then it's left to congeal. Now in an article by the Global Times, it was reported that there are several cases where this fake blood pudding was actually being sold. I mean, surprise, surprise, right? We're going through the theme where everything's fake and is being sold as something that's not really is. Well, first off, the duck blood is actually more expensive than the pig's blood. So then this has led to unethical vendors actually using the pig's blood and selling it as duck's blood for higher profit margins. Now here's the catch. In order to make this pig blood taste similar to the duck blood, many harmful ingredients need to be added. Now one of these harmful ingredients is formaldehyde. And for those of you who do not know what formaldehyde is, it's actually a strong smelling gas, colorless gas actually, that has been used in building materials and many household products. Now this has been added obviously because it increases the pig blood shelf life and firmness to kind of like make the pig blood appear to be more of the duck blood, so these unsuspecting consumers think they're actually buying the real duck blood. Now as you can guess, this gas is extremely toxic, and if it consumed, it can damage the liver, the kidneys, and the nerves. Now that's very unsettling, but I mean, it's quite obvious to me that this gas that's in this type of materials or whatever it's being used, it's not good for the human body to consume. Now the best way to identify if it's real duck's blood or if it's fake pig's blood is when the duck blood is uncooked, it's actually delicate and crisp in texture, whereas a fake pig's blood will be chewy and a lot more easier to pick up with a pair of chopsticks. So next time you actually decide to eat pig or duck's blood in any way, you probably want to be aware of the best way to identify if it's real or not. Number 9, tilapia fish from China. Now I got a fun fact for you. Did you know that tilapia was actually one of the most top 10 consumed seafoods in America? I didn't know that myself, but according to the Food and Agriculture Organization, up to 60% of all the tilapia in America are actually imported from China. Now that's more than half, and if you know whatever makes this list, it's not going to be such a good thing. Well, let me explain that further. Well, first off, we know it's a well-known fact that fish is actually an essential key food for a healthy diet, but that might want to make you think twice about a healthy diet when you find out what the tilapia from China's diet is, and that probably want to make you change your mind, like I already mentioned. Now, what I mean by the diet is it's been documented that some of these tilapias from China are actually fed feces, or better known as poop. Now that is disgusting, and if that doesn't make your stomach turn, then I don't know what will. Because now, according to an article from the ABC News, there have been fish farms in China where it was actually discovered that tilapias are being fed poop. Now there have been instances in where these fishes were fed feces from other animals such as sheep, pigs, and chicken, and the tilapia will eat it up if there's no other food around. Now obviously this is not good, and has actually been found to be unsafe to consume if these tilapias are being fed feces, because obviously the feces can contain salmonella and E. coli. And what makes things even worse, as I previously mentioned on number 6, which is the water from China, it's highly polluted, which one will have to question the actual quality of the water that the tilapia fishes are swimming around in, and the potential pollution and toxic chemicals it might be exposed to. All of this combines that it's not something that really particularly safe to consume. Now, how you can still eat tilapia but avoid the ones from China? Well, according to the Environmental Defense Fund, it suggests to get tilapia that are raised in the United States or Latin America. Now, I don't blame people for wanting to stay away from eating tilapia fish made in China after knowing this, but the next time you have a tilapia, just think of the last meal it might have had. Number 10, tainted pork meat from China. Now I know we already covered a lot of scandals on meat, including the expired meats in this video, and the fake beef and the rat meat from our first video, but the meat scandals just seem to continue. Now, as covered in the article by the Europe-China Deli, multiple people in the Hubei province of China actually fell ill after eating tainted pork meat. Now, this pork meat was tainted with clenbuterol. For those of you who do not know what clenbuterol is actually a substance that's used by sufferers of breathing disorders. Now, during the 1980s, Chinese farmers were using clenbuterol to actually stimulate faster growth in pigs and other livestock, but was banned in 2002 due to potential health concerns that came from consuming clenbuterol tainted meat. As we know in the video, banning does not mean that the practice has stopped, as unethical farmers still use it to drive faster lean muscle growth in their pigs and other livestock, all in the name to increase their profit margins. Now, police in the Hubei province has cracked down on this illegal practice and had made multiple arrests and seized illegal substances. Now, the symptoms of eating clenbuterol tainted meat can be headaches, muscle tremors, dizziness, irritation of the bowels such as vomiting and diarrhea. Although rare, it can especially be high risk for those with existing heart issues and could potentially be deadly in some cases.
Chinese consumers are outraged at another tainted food scandal, this time involving the country's largest producer of pork. Farmers were found to be adding growth stimulants to pig feed, including clenbuterol, a substance illegally used by some athletes as a performance-enhancing drug.
Another tainted food scandal has rocked China. Major pork producers have been feeding pigs with growth stimulants considered harmful to humans. Pig farms and slaughterhouses in Henan and Nanjing provinces were adding clenbuterol and ractopamine to pig feed to produce leaner, pinker meat. Clenbuterol is banned in many countries and has been illegally used by athletes as a performance-enhancing drug. It can cause quickened heartbeat and headaches, and in some cases major health complications.
Now, here's a fun fact for you. Now, according to the Statista.com, China is actually the leading global producer of pork. They produce up to 55 million metric ton pork per year. Now, that's a lot of pork, and with all this pork, it's hard to know exactly which countries that China might be exporting its pork meat to, including to the countries who love to consume pork. Now, the next time you have anything to do with pork, you might want to check to see where it's made from. Well, there you have it. That is our top 10 dangerous Chinese foods that can kill you, part 2. Now again, next time you eat, I don't want you questioning everything, but it's always best to stay informed and be aware of the things that you're putting into your body. Now, if you found value in this video, please make sure to share this video with others so you can inform them, and subscribe and smash the notification button to receive updates on new videos just like this. Also, click the thumbs up button and leave in the comments below on what you think is the most dangerous fake food, or if there's any I might have missed. Now, stay informed, and Genius Tomato out.